You've got something you really want to do in life, but you keep hesitating. You just can't get yourself to take that leap and do it. Something's holding you back. If you look inside yourself, what you often find is that it's fear. You're afraid of failing. And failure can take a lot of forms. It can mean a lot of things to us. Maybe failing means you're afraid that you're going to give it your all and then you're going to have your heart broken because it's not going to work out. Or maybe to you, failing means that you're going to try your best and then you're going to fail publicly and everyone's going to laugh at you, or you're going to feel ashamed or embarrassed. Maybe to you, failure means you've always thought you had tremendous potential and now you're going to try your best and find out that your potential isn't quite what you thought it was. The only way to create the life you really want is to get out there and start making the bold moves that you know you need to make. And the only way to get yourself to do that is to get over your fear of failure. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you get past your fear of failure by getting clear on what failure really is and what it really means to our lives. Because once you figure that out, you realize failure is not something we should be afraid of. It's something we should embrace. Let's dive in. The F word. It's a really tough one for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to hear it. They don't want to say it. You know the word I'm talking about is failure. I've been coaching people for a long time, and I cannot begin to tell you how many people struggle with this word. It's actually physically painful for them. You can see it on their face. The funny thing is, the word itself is harmless. If you actually look up the definition of fail, it just means to be unsuccessful in achieving one's goal. What's really painful about the word failure for a lot of people isn't what the word means, it's the meaning they attach to it. So in this video, let's get really clear on what failure is and start to unravel all the feelings we have around it. The problem I see most people have with this word is when they say it, it gives them a feeling of permanence and judgment. When you say the words, "I failed," or "that was a failure," if you're like most people, it probably feels permanent to you. It feels like, wow, I tried something, I had one shot, and I failed at it. And that's it. I don't get another shot. I'm not good enough. Or maybe even if I try it 100 times, I'm never going to be good enough because I failed. It makes you feel like it's not that you had a failure, but that you're a failure. So it feels like you have had your potential, your capability, your ability judged, and you have been found wanting and fallen short. But here's the thing, it's all a lie. Because that's not an accurate reflection of what failure actually is. To fail at something is to be unsuccessful in achieving one's goal. But where in that does it imply that you can't try again? See, failure is not permanent. It's a temporary state. It's something that you experience in a moment, but there's nothing to say that the next time you try it or in a future moment, you're going to experience that again. Let me give you an analogy that we can all relate to that's going to help you see failure a little bit more clearly. Let's take a toddler who's learning to walk. When you were a toddler, you learned how to walk. When you first learned how to walk, did you just get up and start walking like around the house and never fall down? That was it? No, you fell down a lot. When you first started to learn to walk, you couldn't even get up. You kept trying to stand up and falling down. Stand up, fall down, stand up, fall down. Think about what you were doing. Try, fail, try, fail, try, fail, over and over and over again. Then you learned to stand, and then you'd fall down. Then you learned to take a step, and you'd fall down. And you probably did that dozens of times, maybe hundreds of times, before you learned to take 2 or 3 or 4 steps. Then you were able to walk around the living room by hanging on the furniture. Then you were able to walk across the room before you had to sit down or you fell down. Then one day you learned how to run a little faster or jump a little bit. Failure is a temporary state that describes a step in the learning process. It's basically when you are trying something and you don't have the skill or ability to succeed at it yet. That last word is where the magic is. That last word is how you overcome your fear of failure. They say the way to overcome a fear of something is to know that thing. So the way to overcome your fear of failure is to know what failure is and to really see it clearly. Failure is simply a step in the learning and growing process on the way to success. And trust me, it always leads to success. You will eventually get there. Now, whether you get there as fast as you want to, that's a different question. Sometimes it may take you longer to get there than you want it to. But if you keep trying and failing, eventually you'll succeed. Because every time you fail, you're going to learn from that. And you're going to fail, and you're going to learn from that. The reason why we often get so upset is because we want to succeed right now. And we're impatient. We don't want to go through that learning process. But getting over your fear of failure and getting off your butt and going and doing the thing that's going to make your life better means accepting that it's going to be a journey. And you're going to have to go through all the steps of it, including the learning part. I'm going to teach you a real quick trick that you can use to help you get comfortable with your fear of failure. And that is to replace the word fail with the word learn. Now that we understand that failure is just part of the learning process, what if you started giving yourself some positive self-talk and changing the way you talk about it? What if instead of saying, I'm going to go out there and people are going to see me fail, you said, I'm going to go out there and people are going to see me learning? Or, I'm afraid to make my first video because what if it's a huge failure? Versus, I'm going to make my first video and it's probably going to be a big learning experience. You may be watching my videos right now and thinking, well, good for you, you have that attitude, Andy, because your videos suck. Or you may be watching them and thinking, well, it's easy for you to say because your videos all look great, so where's your learning process? To which I would say, I've been actually making training videos for a really long time, and if we were to go back and look at some of my early ones, they sucked. And if you took the ones I'm making right now and put them next to the ones I'm going to make, say, 2 years from now, after many more attempts, you're going to see that these won't look very good next to those. That's all part of the process. So get comfortable with learning. Get comfortable with making attempts that are successful or are not successful, or sometimes have varying degrees of success. Sometimes you make an attempt and you don't succeed overall with what you wanted, but you succeed at certain parts and then you learn from that. Get comfortable with the fact that you're going to go out there and people are going to publicly see you learning. And that's okay. In fact, it can be very inspiring. That person you want to become or that thing you want to achieve, the only way you're going to accomplish that is by changing and growing. Because you're wanting to achieve something you haven't achieved before, or you're wanting to become a person that you haven't been before. And the only way to do that is to grow, and the only way to grow is to learn. So this is the great irony of our fear of failure. The thing that we're all terrified of is this feeling that it's permanent and final, and that we gave it our best shot, and ultimately we came up short and we're not good enough. And the irony is, the only way that happens is if you let your fear hold you back from making attempts to become better or to do something you haven't done before because you're afraid of failing at those attempts. Your fear of failure actually is a self-fulfilling prophecy because it makes the feeling you're afraid of having come true. The only way through it to get to the thing you want is to change your fear and instead look at failure as learning steps along the way. Once you do that, you're going to find that all of a sudden you're ready to tackle those big things you want to do. So get out there in life and go after the thing you want. And don't be afraid to fall down or stumble many times along the way. It's part of the process. It's what we all do. And it's what's going to make you the person you want to be. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you liked the video, please do us a favor and hit that like button below. If you want more content like this, or you want help getting clear on anything in your life, go ahead and click that subscribe button and we'll keep you updated on more videos and content as we release them. Take care of yourself out there, and as always, be well.
Clear-ity. Get clear on everything.